episode 4 of the Unstoppable Mindset video podcast. Tom, during your seminars, you mentioned a lot about addiction and bad habits. How much of a problem is that in today's society?
It is a big problem. It really is. And I think we are creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit. That's exactly what we are. Okay. And we are creatures of habit like every other species on the planet. Except every other species on the planet go about their daily business in a harmonious way. They have a purpose, and the sole purpose is to survive. But the problem with us is our sole purpose seems to self-destruct. That's what our sole purpose is.
Self-destruct?
Self-destruct. Because we are going about our business in a completely mindless way. We are not living in harmony even with the environment. You could argue that, humans are a cause of most of the problems with the whole subject of global warming. But when it comes to addiction and bad habits, we are creatures of habit. Unfortunately, all our habits have just become so backwards and so self-destructive. And when you look at a lot of physical and mental illnesses, if you look behind each one of them, you will see a bad habit or an addiction most of the time. Not all of the time, but let's say, again, let me just throw a guess. Someone can come back and say, you're so wrong with what you just said. I'm going to say, 90% of most of the problems that we have, physical and mental, there'll be a bad habit or an addiction behind that. Now, addiction, when you use the word addiction, the first thing that springs to people's mind, they start thinking about heroin users and crack users and weed smokers, maybe just smokers. Certainly drugs always will spring to mind when you use the word addiction. But I mean, let's look at sugar, not in depth. Let's just really look at sugar a minute. I have this view on sugar. When people say, oh, I love chocolate or I love this. No, you don't. You love sugar is what you love, okay?
Right.
Everything that makes up a galaxy bar is not going to excite you without the sugar in it. You get a cupcake and you look at the ingredients and they all play a part in the end product of a cupcake. But take out the sugar and that cupcake doesn't taste nice. So it's the sugar that we like, and for some, it is sugar that we are addicted to. Now, since the beginning of Unstoppable Mindset, obviously we have covered lots of different topics. Like you say, addiction, bad habits coming up in the seminar, and a lot of people are coming once I've highlighted a few sugar facts. Yeah, shit, I'm addicted to sugar. I can't actually get through the day without it. Okay, well, here's your challenge, 14-day challenge, no sugar for 14 days. 5 days in, headaches, some people got sweats, some people got shakes.
They're getting withdrawal symptoms.
Big time. Big time. It's a serious thing. Addiction is everywhere, and it's not just to do with drugs. The problem is with sugar. For me, sugar is massively, massively linked, and my goodness me, you can really, really do your research on this. It's linked to everything. It's linked to cancer, to obesity, obviously diabetes, mental health. Just on the mental health side of things, eat a load of sugar all day long. I'm talking, I'll set you the challenge now, whoever's listening. Get up in the morning, 2 sugars, 4 teas, 2 sugar in each tea, biscuits, a pack of biscuits broken up into snacks throughout the day. some sort of meal at lunchtime that will have some sugar dressing on it, or a sauce with sugar in it, or just a product with sugar in it, whether it be that you buy like a processed meal, a lot of them have sugar added to it, have that. Have a couple of sugary drinks, have an evening meal, again with some dressing or something added to it with sugar, which you can easily find, no problem, in any supermarket. Pretty much most sauces have sugar in. And then have some ice cream. Tell me how you feel at the end of the day and the next day. You won't feel great. Now, some people live like that on a daily basis, so it's causing a big problem. And some people are addicted to it without even realising it. And unfortunately, they don't realise it because it's hidden in so many foods. So I've used the saying before, open your eyes. So on the sugar subject, again, if you are feeling a certain way, and I'm talking physical, sluggishness, tiredness, irritability, energy peaks and troughs throughout the day is your biggest sugar addiction sign, where you're energetic, tired. All of those things, open your eyes, look at that and make some changes. Start to look very, very closely at the food you're eating. Look at any product that you buy with a pack, look at the pack, look at the sugar content, and just kind of do the math, kind of break it down, how much sugar you're having throughout the day. And for some, it can be quite scary. And all you need to know is this. Look this up yourself. Is a slow killer. Sugar is a slow killer. It will just kill you on the inside, physically and mentally, slowly, over years. Mm-hmm. You'll have symptoms potentially that may come out in the form of something physical, whether it be high sugar levels, okay? So instead of the GP saying, right, sort your diet out, they're going to basically put you on a tablet to sort your sugar levels out or whatever. Mm-hmm. Just look at what you're doing first. And if you are getting any symptoms, physical, mental, like I say, sluggish, tiredness, have a look at that. In terms of breaking addictions or even bad habits, then that's also something that, you need to firstly be aware and acknowledge that you have a problem, whether it be a full-blown addiction like smoking, drinking, and drug taking, or just like some bad habits. Maybe there's just a bit too much junk food in. Maybe you've got a bad habit where you just drink too much Coke, too many fizzy drinks, stuff like that. They can all be broken, but it all starts with acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. And the good thing with the seminars is that I get people to acknowledge that. Now they don't do it to my face. It's a non-intrusive way. So the good thing about the seminars, if anyone's listening that's never been, is that I'll address all the issues that we're all facing, but maybe we just don't talk about. Maybe there's a lot of issues that we just don't want to face, don't want to admit to. I'll bring all that up, and people were just going to sit there and go, "Oh my goodness, he's talking to me," and that's the feedback I get, which is great. So then they go away from the seminar and they feel a bit inspired, a bit motivated, and they do open their eyes and take a closer look at their life. And they acknowledge and admit, probably for the first time in a long time, I've got a problem with drink, I've got a problem with drug, I'm smoking and I just don't want to smoke, I'm drinking way too many Diet Cokes, like 5 a day, or this. Mm-hmm. Yes, I've got a drug problem, And they'll acknowledge and admit. There's the start of your journey. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was the start of my journey. Addiction, bad habits, mental breakdown. Hang on a minute. What am I doing? I'm the problem. Let me sort myself out. So when you can get to that stage, you're ready to go. Until you get to that stage, you haven't got a chance, because giving up bad habits and addictions is extremely tough. Takes a lot of mental grit and mental toughness to do it. For example, if you're trying to give up sugar, you go invited round your friend's house at the weekend, chances are they're going to offer you a sugary drink or a sugary bit of food. This is very tough. You're going well up against society when you do these things. If you're trying to give up drink, well, it's the most socially acceptable thing in our society. It's actually a massive killer. It's also, if you go to A&E on a Friday and a Saturday night, yeah, you're laughing, Mark, because you spent a few nights. A&E on a Friday, Saturday night, you're going to see your geezer with your broken nose, or you're going to see some matey with a bottle stabbed through his arm, or you're going to see someone that's just needs their stomach pumped, okay? But drinking's fine. It's fine. We'll put a bit of a tax on it, but it's fine. However, you're going to get nicked for smoking that joint, no question, put in jail for this. It's all backwards, but anyway, that's another story. So you've got all these things related to alcohol. It's the most socially acceptable thing. You try and give it up, and your family are not going to stop drinking. Your friends are not going to stop drinking, so it's tough. So acknowledging and admitting is your first point. That gives you the kind of grit to then say no to your friends, you know, and no to your family. But, you know, you've just
That's the hardest thing out of when you're giving something up. You're probably surrounded by, you know, friends, family who are, you know, I know when I gave up smoking, all my friends were smoking.
Yeah.
When I gave up, I say sugar, when I went into a nice clean eating diet, my missus weren't eating clean.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's ordering pizzas and whatnot, and it's a struggle every day.
It is. It's really tough.
Yeah, it's that's, you know, how do you do that? How do you give up something when you're surrounded by everyone?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. You've really got to have a talk to yourself. You've got to have a talk to yourself.
I mean, I've done it, so but I'm asking you, what's,
yeah.
you know,
You've got to really talk to yourself. You like, again, it starts with acknowledging and accepting, or admitting that there's a problem. Then you've got to have a very, very strong reason why you want to give it up, whether it be that you're acknowledging that, yes, the risks of death from smoking are just too high for my liking. The risk of cancer is just too high. The risk of diabetes is too high. You know, if you're someone that's overweight and you want to give up food, but then you really think, okay, I've been told by the doctor I'm on the verge of diabetes. I really don't want it. So you've got to have a strong reason why. For me, my reason why was I didn't want to be that person anymore, that weak person that couldn't say no. So that was my why, and it still is. I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to do drugs, and I want to rebuild, you know, my mind, continually rebuild my mind in the strongest way possible. And that's my why. That's what drives me forward. So you've got to have all of that together at the same time. And then it's the reasons why you do it that need to kick in 1 month down the line, and 2 months down the line, and 3 months, when it starts to get really, really tough. Mm-hmm. For example, summer's just kicking in, and you already said yourself, you know, oh, this is when it starts to get hard.
Yeah.
You know,
the diet. The easiest
summer
part when you diet. January, it's easy.
Yeah.
January, February. Depends when the weather decides to warm up here in England, whether it's March, April or May. Generally, it's normally around the Easter time, which you're probably going to end up eating some sort of crap. And it's whether or not you can get back on track. And that's the hardest part, because all you want to do is go to the beer garden.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's human nature. It comes from obviously us wanting to enjoy ourselves. But again, you know, what I said at the beginning, if you look, we all started on the same level playing field when time began, okay? And according to Darwin, we were monkeys at one point, okay? But our mind has evolved. But it's evolved so much that now it kind of, it works against us. And it's not that it does it on its own, it's our own doing. And we don't basically enjoy ourselves in the right way. You know, you don't see any other species on the planet using up their recreational time by damaging their health. And you know, the saying that the majority of people will use, which most use as a lie and a justification, is, well, you only live once. For sure you do. But actually, for me now, after experiencing disaster in my own life and seeing the real dark side of abuse and addiction and bad habits, I just want to live a healthy, happy life. And so far, from being less socially of an acceptable person, like not going out as much and not being as maybe as fun and like as a party animal like I used to be, I'm happier. And my life is just that much better. It is just that much better. It's not easier. It's still tough sometimes, but I'm just happier. I'm happier as a person, and that's because, you know, I'm obviously starting to find a balance where I don't seek to self-destructive ways as a way of enjoying myself. So you have got to find other stuff to do. You have got to find a bit more of a purpose in life. I think also that's very, very hard. If you've got someone that's addicted and got a lot of bad habits and they have no drive in life, well, you are going to struggle, because take away the drink and the drugs and the smoking and the stuff that you actually enjoy. If you take all that away and you don't have anything, if you're in a job, for example, that you don't like, if you're in a relationship that you're not happy in, and life just ain't that good, you know, things have just not really gone the way you wanted to, then I will stress. I do think giving up an addiction or a bad habit is going to be tough under those circumstances. For me, you must understand what made it much, much easier is that I had this mission in my life all of a sudden with Unstoppable. And that was I thought I could never change. I thought I would never change. I'd said it to my fiance so many times, I'll do drugs to the day I die. I honestly believed that, because I thought, well, I'm not going to go out without them and I'm always going to go out. Yeah. But I did change. So I knew that you could. And I started to understand how, and I started to understand the process of how to do it. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take as many people along this journey as I can, my man Brooksy included. and so far it's working. It's not easy, and people are struggling still, me included, you included, but it's possible. You can pull yourself away from it. So yeah, it's tough, but it can be done.
So I know from, you know, my own experience from years ago, I gave up drugs, and, you know, when you're pulling yourself away from that, especially if you've got all your friends are doing it as well in the pubs and whatnot, you feel like if you're coming away from that, you're going to be a bit of a loner, and that could be quite scary. But the truth be told, since I've gave them all up, I'm actually more popular now, a hell of a lot more creative. I set up my own business as well. And obviously being creative helps with that massively. There's no way I could have done that back then. Some people say, oh yeah, I can still own a business and still do this and that and still go out and take drugs. I'd only do them at the weekend. Think of what you could do if you gave it up, if you gave up drugs, or you lowered your drinking down, or you was eating right, or, you know, whatever it is you're addicted to, which is bad for your health. If you was able to pull that away, how much better could you be at doing what you do, or be more creative?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the first thing to ask back to that is, who is it that said you were more popular?
Me. You see my Facebook account? Facebook weren't. Then again, I didn't have Facebook back in the day when I was on drugs. They didn't even exist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, no, I think
no one liked me.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. No, I agree. You're a better person now. I'm a better person now, and I think during the time that you're on it, it's again you build up this kind of nice sort of comfortable lie about you as a person, that you're fine, that you're all right, and it's so far from the truth. That's one thing, you know, that I've learned that we're just all so good at, and I see it now. We're so good at building up this kind of lie that basically allows us to justify what we do, and we're very good at dismissing any symptom and sign of ill health, which is why I think some people just will always go to the GP and always be so accepting of certain things, because they do not want to accept that they're part of the problem. They would rather think they just have an illness, and it's an illness that needs medication, as opposed to it's actually something that they created through bad living. But what you just said there with the whole loner side of things and whatever, that's also a very hard thing when you've lived a certain way for such a long time, and you have a certain group of people around you and a certain life that's been created through that way of living. Then when you're coming away from it, it is the unknown. Now, I just saw boredom. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
I just looked ahead
But
and
this
thought,
falls into anything. So I'm not just on about drugs. Even smoking.
Yeah, all of it.
If you smoke and you're going out on your, probably so many cigarette breaks, and you're probably going to speak to your work colleague, and you'll have that little chit chat by the smoking shelter. You've now just pulled yourself away from that.
Yeah.
And that has a psychological effect on you.
Yes, it does. You end up with all these gaps.
Yeah.
So, but all these gaps you see, these are times in life. This is why we don't cope so much. We don't cope very well because we
don't know what to do.
We don't know what to do because we just are using smoking to fill a void and to be a crutch. We're using drinking to fill a void and to be a crutch. We're using drugs to fill a void and be a crutch. We're using food to cope with the day, to cope with the emotion, to cope with sadness, and we're using it as a crutch. What we're not doing, which is why we've all lost control of it, is we're not using the power of our mind. And it's a vicious circle because once you're in the sugar habit addiction cycle, alcohol addiction habit cycle, smoking, so on and so on, drugs, then you're not going to be able to use your mind. It's one of the main things I realise now through going through this journey myself. When I used to look at mindfulness books and so on, and there's a lot of techniques in there, what to do and breathing and so on. But you can't do any of that when you're intoxicated. And it's one element that all these books are missing. And even a lot of motivational speakers, I feel, when they say so sort of candidly about, and I agree with everything they say, or I love everything they say, right? And I don't disagree, but they're saying about how to fight. You got to get up off your ass. And listen, you're not getting up off anywhere with McDonald's in your stomach. Do you understand? You're not getting up off your ass doing anything constructive for your life with 4 pints of cider. You're just not. You're not doing anything constructive. You're not thinking clearly. And slowly over time, you're destroying your physical and mental health. So it's, it's crazy what we're doing to ourselves. Brooks, it's crazy. I'm not sure if I digressed a little bit there, but I think the key point to what you were saying is this: how much do you value your life? Do you value your life more than your social networking, your friends? Do you value your life more than other people's opinion? Because at the moment, if you're going to put this kind of fake world and fake life and this incorrect way of dealing with life in front of your own physical and mental health, you are going to struggle. And that's just the way it is.